So yeah, what I was kind of what I was kind of saying when I first logged in was that my audio stuff is all over the place right now because I was I had a few conflicts between all of the USB devices that were plugged in. Like at one point I had two cameras plugged in, microphone, all sorts of stuff, and the computer just didn't like that. So I wound up switching things around, bought a little doodad to plug audio stuff into. So if the audio sounds a little bit weird, just let me know. We'll see what we can do about that because we're kind of flying by the seat of our pants. But I think everything should be back to normal-ish right about now for at least the sound that you guys are hearing. My mileage may vary on this one, but I know it is last minute. Yes, I'm just moving stuff around on my desk. Lipstick. Bury Me in Lipsticks, the Sophia Nygaard and ColourPop collaboration, which I rather like. Usually, if you see me on my YouTube videos, I'm usually using Fred, which is the dark red from that, which I have to say, 12-year-old me is probably horrified that almost 50-year-old me is wearing bright red lipstick because we used to make fun of substitute teachers who did that. Screw it. Let's see here. So yes, last minute notice for folks. I've been meaning to stream for like the past week, and everything just sort of gets in the way. Real life, once you become an adult, has this annoying habit of doing that. So that being said, I should probably let the husband know that I'm live so that he doesn't come barging down here asking me questions like, you know, when I want to eat dinner and stuff. I give absolutely no guarantees that my parental units or other members of the family will not text in the middle of doing all of this stuff because that is exactly the way life is, isn't it? There we go. I've got a fresh cup of tea, and I brought down my crochet, mainly so that you guys could see what I've been working on. I will probably put this first part of the stream up on the YouTube channel at some point, just so that folks can see what I've been up to. I know I've been away and not really making a lot of videos over the past month or so, but it's been a time. If you took a look at the last video I posted, you probably know why. And it's just this first beginning of the year is just really stupid for that kind of stuff. We've had family things happen. And I'm not going to get into it because I don't want to depress you. Needless to say, we're doing fine. We're getting things back on track, and I have been playing with a lot of yarn. It's acrylic, mostly, but it's yarn. And I enjoy that. I also got the reveal shots done for my current sewed piece, and so I am hopefully going to finish editing the video within the next couple of days and have that up for the patrons. Other new business, let's see here. If you are not happy with the ums and ahs, I am very sorry. It happens. Happens a lot. Thanks to my patrons, who I probably should have announced this to earlier, but I only just hit the button on the Amazon cart this morning. I will hopefully soon be able to have a little bit better. I bought another camera. I bought a new camera. The camera that I have been using for my filming of my crafting and my sewing was already somewhat old, like a couple of years old, as far as models came and went when I got it. It was a 15-year sort of anniversary present from the company that I was working for at the time. And of course, you don't get the latest models when they're giving them to you for a, I guess, incentive to remain with them a little bit longer, which didn't really happen. Anyhow, we thought that camera was going to be mainly used by the husbeast for learning photography. Little did we know that I was going to start actually using part of my art college education and start making videos. So I have finally decided to pull the plug on some of the Patreon money, and I am very thankful for my patrons because they are allowing me to get a Canon M50 Mark II, which again is not exactly the latest thing, but it has all of the bells and whistles that I need in order to make videos, as well as hook it up to the computer so that if I want to stream actually showing knitting or crochet or sewing, then I can, and it'll be clear and not blurry like the camera that you are looking at me on right now, because that camera is a tiny little Logitech that maybe cost $175 brand new, and out of the two webcams I've got is probably the better, but it doesn't really allow for a lot of zooming and focusing on stuff like stitches. So hopefully I will be able to hook that up in the next couple of weeks when it comes in. There were choices of being able to get like a full package with filters and all sorts of other gear, but when I took a look at the reviews of these things, it was a lot of extra money for stuff that you probably wouldn't even use or couldn't use. In a couple of cases, some of the folks who had bought the package had said that the tripod that came with it wasn't even able to hold up the camera. So considering I've got a tripod, that's not a big deal, but I, instead used the difference between the camera and the package to pick up other things like a better memory card and a couple of extra batteries. So things that are actually going to be useful in the long run for making content, which awesome stuff. So that is kind of the state of where things go, which is pretty cool. So let's see here. Madeline is level what now? You are level 11. I've been playing my little potato, my little Lalafell on my just to try and remember what the storyline is like going forward, and it's been fun. You would be surprised how many people like the tiny little Lalafells. They're funny. But before I get into that, I think I will show you some of the stuff that I've been working on. So I'm going to pop that onto the big, you will see big me. And yes, everything is going to wobble because I accidentally touched my screen that the Logitech is sitting on. Me? There we go. Yes, I have the door open behind me. That is not only so the cat can come in and go out, but also so that you guys can warn me if somebody's going to come and murder me. That is the murder door. And I just dropped my crochet hook. Sue! Where is the crochet? There it is. So, crochet hook. Ergonomic. Because, you know, nothing says I love the environment more than a piece of rubber that makes you, not get carpal tunnel syndrome. It is a 4mm crochet hook. Probably from Knit Picks. I've got some that I picked up on my own, so loops and threads, and some that I got from Knit Picks in a kit that I sent away for. This, the right side or the wrong side? This work in progress is a Lost Secrets? No. Lost Pathways? No. I have the pattern. It is... Yeah, it's definitely not Lost Highway. That's a movie. And I definitely do not recommend it as a date movie. Secret Paths by Johanna Lindahl, aka Miho Crochet. And it is really quite lovely. I like it. You can't really see it in this lighting, but it is actually quite sparkly. So I will attempt, if I put this up on the main channel, I will attempt to get some better shots of this. This is a shawl that I am making for my mother-in-law. And her house gets kind of chilly, so it's nice for her to be cozy and warm. Of course, I am using all of my stitch markers to their most potential. And that is the yarn. It is acrylic. It is, I think, Lion Brand Shawl in a Ball. Metallics. Sorry if I'm bonking the microphone. But it has a lot of stitches in it. So I work on, and my mother-in-law is a smoker, so I have a tendency to take it with me when we go visit her. And that way, when she receives it, if it smells like cigarette smoke, she won't mind. Because acrylic doesn't always block all that great. Of course, I'm pulling all the things. What else have I got here? This bag, Doctor Who bag. Man, this is sounding a lot. This is looking a lot like a knitting podcast circa like 2005. Oh goodness. Socks. That is a sock, and if you think that it is horribly large or strangely large, you would be correct. This is a sock for a size 14 foot. Narrow. And I think that loops and threads. See, at one point, I added a few things to the stash from stuff I bought at Michael's. Not that this is an advertisement for Michael's. Yeah, that looks like a loops and threads logo in there. It's the ball. When it comes to plain vanilla socks that have to go through a lot of wear and tear, I like to use a yarn that feels like it's going to be sturdier than something that will fall apart in the wash or will get worn through if somebody wears it with a pair of combat boots, which it probably will, but you never know. Dad isn't likely to wear combat boots though. These socks are me getting caught up on the Christmas knitting for him because his feet are so bloody big. That is sock number 1. Sock number 2. Oh, somebody's following. Thank you. Hi. um, it's not giving me any kind of notifications. So if people are doing things that bring up the notifications and I totally ignore it, please don't mind me. I'm a noob at this. But at any rate, I have Dad's second sock yet to do. I'm casting it on soon once I've got the newer camera because I have this idea for a video in which I go through all of the thoughts that go through your mind when knitting an inordinately large sock. This is the sock that never ends. It just goes on and on, my friend. And the last thing that I have been working on that's not sewing, because the last thing I was working on that was sewing is now done, and you will be seeing that on YouTube soonish. This is another shawl. And I don't know whether the Logitech camera can really pick up just how bright these colors are, but in the right light, they are eye-searing. I am now on the last of 3 balls of Red Heart Boutique, I think it is, or Red Heart Unforgettable. I seem to have lost. I think that the crochet hook is upstairs, actually, on the console between our chairs in the living room. But this is a shawl that I had started for my niece and at some point put it aside to work on other things and didn't get back to it. And now I'm getting back to it because the girl needs a warm hug that she can take with her wherever she goes. Good evening, Lady Lilac Vine. Hello. Now, when I started doing crochet, decided to start with acrylic because it can be less expensive than real wool. So I am hoping very much that my niece does not decide to wear this to a bonfire party, because that could be very bad. They used to burn redheads at the stake in the Middle Ages. I'd rather they not continue the tradition. Pardon me as I nudge the microphone and camera yet again. Yikes. Okay. That back where that belongs. I like to collect different project bags. This one, the one that has my mother-in-law's shawl in it, has sock monkeys on it. Put that back. Grab the tea. So that's what I've been working on. A lot of crochet. a lot less knitting than I'm used to, but then over the past couple of years, I have been doing more. I've been doing kind of whatever handwork comes my way because I've been doing more um, sewing than anything else, mainly because that's what people on YouTube seem to like. They seem to like watching me dodder through sewing adventures, and it's kind of weird. Back to the Final Fantasy. So, I don't think I mentioned last time that we had had a bit of a outfit change on this character. Maybe I did. But looks a little bit like a kirtle with almost like a houppelande over top of it, which is kind of cool. At some point, I am thinking what I may do is I may try to recreate a more historically adequate version of one or more of the items in Final Fantasy, because they do seem to draw on a lot of European styles, which is kind of cool. There are times when I'm playing this game where I wander through it and I go, I wonder how I would make that, and make it so that it looks kind of, you know, historically adequate. Lady Lilac Vine says, I have a wonderful story if you are interested. It is knitting related. I am always interested in knitting stories. But while you are typing, I am going to take Madeline here and find out what it is that Thubergeim wants of her. Because we have a brand spanking new quest that we can do. Salutations, do you come with questions? Are you perhaps perplexed by the nature of Arcanima? Because our character is a arcanist. Which I went to play my main character the other night and decided, well, you know what? I'm going into this dungeon that allows me to level things up. I'm just going to go in on my, no, I'm not going in on the arcanist. All my buttons changed. So it's a good thing I'm doing this. Doing this on stream because, yeah, I can figure out what I'm doing all over again. What will I ask? I guess Thubergeim does not have anything for me. What is tactical planning? Oh, I must have already talked to Thubergeim. Okay, I see. How do I get where I need to go? I can go right out the back door to Middle Lenosia. I only have 797 gil to my name, so therefore I don't really have enough cash to go to Summerford Farms, which will cost me 145 gil. Bad idea. So, off we go to the Aetheryte Plaza and out the door. If you see me looking in that direction, it's because I'm keeping an eye on chat to see what Lady Lilac Vine is going to tell us. Basically, that direction is also where my second monitor is. Out the door we go, and out the Zephyr Gate. But yeah, it's kind of funny. It seems that the characters that I come across most often are cat people, rabbit people, and Lullafels, which are the sort of like chibi people, if you're into the whole anime thing. And people seem to have a real soft spot for the Lalafels. I wound up last night in a trial because eventually we are going to be fighting a primal, and I was in this fight with a primal with 4 strangers because you can queue up to do things with strangers. And they were like, "Oh my god, it's a Lalafell!" It's like, "Hi, yes, hello." They're like, "Oh yay, it's a sprout," because of course if you look at my name here, it has a sprout on it. They're like, "Yay, it's a sprout Lalafell. I remember my first time doing this primal." I'm like, this is not the time to tell people that this is not my first character. Lady Lilac Vine. I got sent a garage sale notification on Facebook. Yarn and sewing supplies. I ventured into the world and came upon a wonderful deal. The entire garage was filled with yarn of all weights, colors, and ingredients. Oh my. 50-gallon trash bag filled for $25 US. I obliged and now have enough yarn to make gifts for the next year easy. My husband weighed it. It is over 15 pounds of yarn. Wow. Congratulations, Lady Lilac Vine. You win. That is a lot of yarn. That is definitely a lot of yarn. I agree with Pet Store Girl right there. I don't want to join the fate. I want to get past the fate so that I can go to tactical planning up there. Yes, yes, I know. It is a level 12 one. Oh, something has decided that it wants to be my friend. Wait a second. Oh, apparently I have to kill you anyways at some point. I don't like the sounds they make when they're hurt. Probably have to kill about 3 of them. Like World of Warcraft didn't make you feel sorry for the puppies. Oh, wait. Hmm. Say hello to my little friend. My little blue Pikachu. Is that enough? Did I do enough of them? Please tell me I did enough of them. Yes. Okay, we're done. Alrighty. Yes, I am going in the right direction. Okay. So what are you going to do with that 15 pounds of yarn? 10 roselings to kill. Okay, we can do that. Like, with that much yarn, I'm wondering if there's like sweaters worth, or if there's enough to make a sweater. Oh, no, 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 no. we're not going after that guy. Nope, 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 nope. That dude's too big. Okay. One of the things that I found out about this game is that people have a tendency to get together and do a lot of these larger critters like the one I just ran away from as a group. So they call it, I think, a hunt train. I'm not sure if that was on the hunt train, but better safe than sorry, because people don't like going around and doing their hunts and finding something's missing, particularly when they're in a pack of like 8 people. Snagged a lot of cotton for dish towels. Made sure to get all of the dye lot if I could. Good idea. Say hi to Mr. Chocobo Keep so that we might be able to use the Chocobo Porter if necessary. Yeah, making sure that you've got all of a dye lot is really important. As it is, the shawl that I'm making for my mother-in-law, I found out after the fact. I had bought 2 other skeins of yarn and then found out that it required 2 balls. Like I'd bought 2 skeins with the idea being that I would make 2 shawls. Turns out you need 2 skeins, period, to make 1 shawl. So I was trying to pick up a second ball, and Mum basically told me, no, that's all wrong. Try this other one. Where am I going? What? Now it wants me to report to Thubergheim at the Arcanist Guild. They're pulling me all the way out here to Western Lenosia. Well then, I am going to trudge all the way to Aleport, and I am going to get myself the attunement there, and then we will just take the ferry back to Limsa Lominsa. Hello, Nightbot. Apparently I need to go through and see what Nightbot is doing. Oh, wait. Maybe that tactical thing I need to do was the rosettes themselves, so that's me being kind of a dumbass, or at least clueless about my quest text. There's a lightning sprite. Are there lightning sprites around here? Dodos! No more lightning sprites? Well, maybe next time. Here, clear the buzzards. Might find more lightning sprites a little closer to Aleport. Because what I think was on my list of stuff to do for tactical planning, I thought was for my hunting log, which is what the lightning sprite is. Or maybe it was the jackals. Who knows? Either way. We killed things. It now wants us to turn them in. That's good. We're at the very beginning of the game where it's still a lot of go here, kill this. Go here, kill that. Pick up these things. So basically it's one really, really long, what's the word for it? Tutorial. Husbeast is on the move. I can hear him moving around upstairs. 6 skeins of mohair, 10 to 12 of alpaca, and 6 of the fluffy baby blanket stuff. Ooh, fluffy. Fluffy is good. As long as it's fluffy. I mean, at one point Mom gave me all of her old baby yarn, and it was the acrylic stuff, which, you know, fair enough. Acrylics. But it was from the years before they decided to start actually making baby yarn really soft. I mean, it was soft enough, but not in the way that you want baby yarn to be soft these days. I guess it's a matter of, you know, sign of the times. But 6 skeins of mohair. Depending on how big the skein is, that could make a sweater. It'd be the 1980s all over again. Limsa. Limsa Fairy's out of... Level 15, huh? 10 to 12 of alpaca. What would I do with 10 to 12 skeins of alpaca? I guess it would depend on what gauge it is, whether it's all the same colorway. I mean, if it's sock weight, definitely socks or a shawl. There are a lot of folks making sweaters these days out of sock weight yarn, which, having not made a lot of sweaters, I am not sure whether that is bravado or whether it's masochism. My jury is still out on that. I was desperate not to show my excitement at the alpaca. The struggle is real. The struggle is real. Actually, my brother and sister-in-law one year, either for Christmas or my birthday or just because they happened to be in a place that had it, wound up getting me a nice big bag. Like, I'm talking like if you're in one of those spinning clubs, it's easily, you know, what they would consider a double dose of fiber. So I have a nice big bag of lovely natural colored alpaca that at some point I need to spin up and turn into something really nice. I just haven't done so yet because I want it to look good. So at some point, maybe once I've got the new camera, might have to set up the spinning wheel and spend an evening doing that, and we'll see what we can get up to. Get back into fighting form. Merch. I am Merch C. I am in the middle of making a couch blanket. Crazy wide, but not as long. It is all out of acrylic, but that's good for dye lots and kids spilling things on it. Acrylic's good for that. I have to admit it. I used to really buy into the whole yarn snob thing of, you know, it has to be all natural fibers. And then I realized that everything has its utility. Natural fibers are great for warmth. They're great for wicking away sweat. They're good for keeping in warmth and some moistures. So if you are outside and playing in the snow and you get wet, well, even if it's a layer that's close to you, it's more likely to keep you warm. Whereas if you are, for instance, a bicyclist and you're wearing, say, a mohair cycling sweater, it's more likely to wick away your sweat and keep you cool. So everything has its place. Acrylics, I have found, are really good for large-scale projects that you need inexpensive yarns. things that are kind of experimental in nature. Stuff that, yes, is going to be around kids, but not around fire, because acrylic is plastic, and the last thing you need is a kid being around burning plastic. Anybody being around burning plastic, to be very honest. But something that, you can just toss over the back of a couch, and if you're feeling cold on a winter's night, just be able to snuggle underneath it. And then if somebody has popcorn on their grimy fingers, or popcorn grease on their grimy fingers, or they spill a soda on it, you can just toss it into the washer or the dryer. Perfect for that. I mean, I'm sure you could do the same thing with a lot of the wool blends that you can get these days, but a lot of those tend to be rather expensive, and you're looking at sweater quantities of yarn at that point. And yeah, obviously yarn is something that you can get me talking for multiple minutes about, so consider yourselves warned. Let's talk to Thubergeim here. Welcome back, Madeline. How did it feel to conquer such ferocious foes? Let us ride the wave of triumph onto an even more demanding and dangerous challenge. Your next training exercise will have you accompanying Forseer Kalia on one of her inspections. This experience will afford you the opportunity to witness firsthand the practical application of Arcanima. Pray do not tarry, Madeline. Kalia awaits you on the floor below with further details. See, now I get to go downstairs. After getting out of this room and immediately turning left every time I was here last session, I finally get to continue all the way down to the bottom. There she is. A timely appearance, as I expected. Shall we proceed directly to the job at hand? I have been tasked with examining the wares of a goblin peddler caravan run by the Boylstocks family. Our agents suspect these beastman merchants of dealing in forbidden goods. As such, I have calculated that announcing an inspection has a 60% chance of inviting physical violence. I have prepared a strategy to respond to this possible shift into hostilities, but there is an important precondition you should be made aware of before we discuss the finer points of my plan. Though I am considered gifted in the formation of tactics, I lack the reflexes and coordination necessary to employ many of those selfsame strategies on the field of battle. Pray keep this factor in mind and adjust your perceptions accordingly. Now, should the goblins offer battle, you are to execute combat pattern 1345, otherwise known as Stratagem Focus Fire. You and your carbuncle will concentrate your attacks on a single foe, and, one by one, the enemy will wither under the combined onslaught. Probability of victory, 95%. Reports place the peddlers in the vicinity of the cookpot in Middle Lanasia. I will depart immediately to assess the situation. Seek me out once you arrive. I often have the feeling that sometimes when they're writing dialogue for some of these things, they're taking notes from George Lucas, to whom Harrison Ford once said, "You can write this stuff, George." I edit somewhat. "You just can't say it." I think it was Harrison Ford who said that. And of course, you've got Carrie Fisher, who had to constantly practice things like, "I have placed documents vital to the survival of the Republic in this droid." She was rattling off that for years. Hey. "I have placed documents vital to the survival of the Republic in this droid." Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope. Okay. Middle Lanasia, right? Don't have to go so far this time. Okay. But yes, one of the other things that I made in the past week or so that I couldn't show off is another pocket, because apparently pockets are the new socks. You can't just make one. As that pocket has already gone off to its recipient. I made it for Mum so that she'd have a place to put her Kobo and her cell phone and other necessities while she's away from the house. She wanted a drawstring bag, and I just sort of went, wait, some of these things I can just make her a pocket for that, and then she can just take it wherever it needs to be. Mobile. Good stuff. Now, the fabric that I made it out of, I had bought with the intention of making an apron, one of those sort of vintagey style aprons. And I actually, if I can take it out without disturbing everything on this side of the desk. I have a pattern that I need to put together. Pinafore apron Grace from Studio Handworks. So I guess we will find out whether this is good. But I have one more project that I need to get working on. It's already cut out. I just need to start sewing it together. So I'm thinking I might do that first and then put together the pinafore apron, and we'll see how that turns out. Because I have a feeling that the pinafore, well, if I use the fabric that I'm thinking of using, it will probably be a little too busy to place over top of my full sort of Victorian-ish ensemble. But we'll see. Pockets are fun. I'm planning on making a utility pocket one of these days. I've considered a utility pocket. Oh, we'll steer clear of those guys over there. Several children-sized hats with ears are in the planning stages. Animal ears or elf ears? I see that Merch has the same question as me. What types of ears? I mean, are we talking rabbit ears, fox ears, cat ears? It was a hat with cat ears or devil horns, depending on which pattern you decide, or which version of the pattern you decided to make, that actually got me into knitting, so I'm not about to judge. Leah. Ooh, level sync in effect. Let's find out what she's going to have us do. I am Forseer Kalia of Melvan's Gate. You are to cease all transactions and surrender your goods for inspection. Nasty, sneaky peekers. Gobbies spit uplander nosy eyes on stabby iron. I'll just let you guys read that. Goblins are notoriously difficult to understand at the best of times. A predictably aggressive response. Very well, Madeline. Remember what we discussed. And out comes my book. Fear my book. I will hit you with my pattern from Studio Handworks. Okay. Do I have the ability to sleep things? I do. Let me just do that. she just woke him back up again. Thanks. Switch to combat pattern 2538, evasive maneuvers. Ah, goodness. Okay. What are you? Resurrection. You down. I find it funny because a friend of mine at one point said, I never use the sleep function. I have no idea. It's not even on my bars. I don't even know why it's there. And I'm like, dude, use that thing all the time. Your combat style gives me an idea. What, because I put things to sleep? There we go. Stabby iron is amazing. Yes, to all ears, there are some fun colors that I'm debating. Dark red and black with fox-like ears, browns for bear ears. Bear ears are good. Bear ears are good. I even got a pattern for the octopus hat. I have a pattern for an octopus hat, or actually I think it's a squid hat. I'm not sure if it's crochet or knitted. I think it's crochet. And at some point, I need to make this thing because it's absurd. It is absolutely incredibly absurd. I'm thinking I saw it knit up in or made up in a certain kind of yarn, and if I can find that myself, then I think it'll go really well. The Husbeast saw it and was like, "Can you make me one of these?" I was like, "Okay, I'm buying that pattern." It sounds super cute. In the case of the octopus, or in this case, I think squid hat, I think it looks slightly like a Rasta hat, like with the particular bulge towards the back. I think that's what they're taking advantage of. But it's definitely like an octopus or a squid, and it really looks quite cool. So make of that as you will, and what you will. Nicely done. Adaptation, improvisation. I might have been observing our beloved guildmaster himself in action. Oh, I am so impressed. Flattered. This was the perfect example of how the strategy for a given task should be tailored to the abilities of the assessor. In other words, before you begin formulating your tactics, it is necessary to fully understand your own strengths and weaknesses. I just mash buttons, man. I just mash buttons. On that note, there's another question I would ask you. When it comes to improving the probable success of a strategy, do you consider it more effective to concentrate on playing to your strengths or shoring up your weaknesses? I have an itchy nose. In all the wrong places. Do I enhance my strength or cover up my weaknesses? The 50-50 shot. Oh ho, again you respond as the guildmaster once did. I'm pretty sure that no matter which way I responded, that's how the guildmaster would have responded. I must revise the probability for your potential to attain greatness to 97%, because I am the main character. You are one to keep an eye on, that much is certain. You bet you're a bippy. But to return to the subject of battle plans, your calculations must include an accurate assessment of available techniques and their relative effectiveness. This requires you to be critically aware of your own limits, the limits of your allies, and the characteristics of your enemies. I believe that covers everything for today. Please return to the guild and make your report to Mistress Thubergeim. Until next we meet, I shall abide here until the Yellow Jackets arrive to take the peddlers into custody. My strategies will keep me company. The dude abides. The dude abides. Okay. Been over 15 minutes. I can go back to Limsa Laminsa. Itchy nose. Oh. Kitsch factor. The octopus hat is like kitsch factor 10. Life is too short for boring hats. This is true. The problem is that I have a whole bunch of really cool hats and I very rarely wear them. And that's my fault. Arcanist Guild. Wonder if I can find that octopus hat. Let me just take a look here. I may have found it. Are you the squid hat? That may be the squid hat. I think they made it out of Noro. Images. See if I can find it. There is a prodigiously bearded gentleman wearing an octopus hat. I know you guys can't see it. I will see what I can do about making sure that you can see the actual hat. I'm sure that I could look up wherever it was that I purchased it from, but that would entail me looking through all of my patterns, and I just couldn't be arsed right now. I think. Yeah, that's where I got it from. That gal looks familiar. Alrighty. I'm going to have to make a new window. Or maybe it will let me show the... Ah. Will it let me do that? Window capture? No, it's not right. Okay, let's see. Yeah, it would be window capture. Okay. There we go. You don't need to see all my junk. There we go. Crochet octopus hat. Apparently it is on sale. Somewhere I found the pattern for that. I think also the pattern was on sale, I think, through her. So that is something to look out for if you are interested in it. If you are interested in such things, that's through freaking lit. So I take it the $60.99, which I am not sure if that's Canadian or US, is the hat already made. Blue or yellow or purple. So there we go. Get rid of, yes, remove window capture. Thank you. Close that back down. Lady Lilac Vine. That is the one. I take it I found the right octopus hat. I don't remember from merch. I don't remember exactly who said it. Maybe Zach Pinsent, but I was watching a video where it was stated that all through history, fashion grew organically and kept changing. But now is the first time in history where we have the freedom that we can basically just choose to wear anything we like. That just seems like too sweet an opportunity to squander. So squid hats it should be. If you want to wear an awesome octopus hat, you go right ahead. I think it's a great idea. I've also got a pattern that I purchased from the designer for a Cthulhu clava. So it's a balaclava that is Cthulian. It's Cthulhu. Which, if you're familiar with H.P. Lovecraft, if we're lucky, we'll be eaten first. I don't expect everybody to understand that, but that's okay. There are plenty of Cthulhu references in many of these video games. Husbeast likes to bicycle, so he had this. We took a look at both of those hats, the Cthulhu clava and the octopus hat, and I think both of us had an image in our heads of, you know, a guy riding a fixed gear bicycle belting down the street, you know, doing 50 past a regular motorist with an octopus clinging to the back of his head. Because that is the way my family works. That is what we do. Back from the field, Madeline, Kalia contacted me with a summary of events. It seems you were treated to a lecture on knowing thyself. That particular lesson is ordinarily taught only to intermediate practitioners. Awesome. Without a sufficient store of combat experience from which to draw, it is difficult to fully appreciate the profundity of such a seemingly simple truth. Nevertheless, I feel confident that you will soon be ready for a more ambitious assignment. Keep to your studies and maintain the razor edge of your mind. It's sharp. One last thing, Madeline, considering the dedication you have shown towards our discipline, I have decided to permit you leave to explore the teachings offered by other guilds. So in other words, if you want to bail out and get another profession, now is your chance. I would suggest, however, that you first master the science of Arcanima. The strategic training you receive here will serve you well no matter the path you eventually choose to walk. Return to me when your reason tells you the time is right. You now have access to the armory system. Quests to unlock the other classes can be undertaken by speaking to the receptionist in the corresponding guild. And there are a lot of other jobs that we could do. Amateurs Dalmatica. But I like my... it's a level 5 robe. I think we need an upgrade. Okay. Dumpy Dalmatica it is. Gear sets. Okay. And a new engraved leather grimoire. So what we have here... Make a gear. what we have is the kind of, at least on most characters, dumpy looking, possibly cotton, linen, wool. Actually, it looks kind of woolen shirt with a turtleneck underneath, which is actually not bad. Really need to do something about my let's talk to the manager haircut. Nice thigh highs. Awesome outfit. I wonder if they will allow me to meet up with Jandalene. Let's take a look and see whether or not I can do so. Jandalene is the fellow who will let you change your appearance. At least your hairstyle and color and stuff like that. Well, Baderon has a new quest for us, so we'll have to go see him in a moment. Let's leave meats. It's to prepare a treat for Baderon. Ninia. Fool me once. I am going to look this up. Potato chic. It is kind of potato chic, isn't it? Okay. XIV. Jandalene quest. Beauty is only scalp. Nice music in the background. Okay. Dobie. Level 15. We're not there yet. I cannot change my let me talk to the manager haircut quite yet. That time will come. When I first saw it, I thought it looked cute. And then I realized that it was kind of old for the character. If Mother Mioun in Gridania is using it, then it's probably a little too old for my character. What time is it? 6:30. Got about another hour before I should be heading offline. That's good. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a quick 5-minute break. I'm going to refill my tea, use the facilities. I definitely suggest that everybody get up and have a stretch. If you've been knitting or sewing or crocheting in the background while I've been nattering away, this is a good opportunity for you to do some stretches. Oops. Hopefully you won't be bumping a microphone like me. It's a good opportunity to get up and use the bathroom if you so need to. Get some more water because staying hydrated is good for you. And if you so need it, a snack.
A few moments later.
And I'm back. I hope you guys had a good break too. Hope you got up and stretched your legs. Thank you, Merch. Okay, so I seem to recall that last we left off on this quest thread, we had done a whole bunch of stuff over at Summerford Farms in which we found out that the fellows who were working on the farm there were being were best way to put it, the former pirates were being pressured by the still pirates who are under the influence of the Sahagan Beast Tribe to do crimes. So I guess now we get to find out the next leg of that. But we subverted the crimes, so yeah. And we got to meet the Asian fellow, who is one of the men in black, who are the villains of the story, and they are now curious as to what kind of hero we are. So it's all timey-wimey. I suggest if you're interested, just take a look at the previous couple of... If you're interested and you've got some time to kill and need something on in the background, just take a look at the last couple of streams. If you don't find them here, you will find them on my secondary YouTube channel, which I put together so that we have an archive of the streams, mainly because Twitch doesn't keep things forever, as far as I'm aware. So there's that. Okay, let's talk to Betaron. Proprietor of the Drowning Wench has a suggestion to put you on the road towards new adventures. Because at some point, everything is going to kind of go from your home base. So the way that this game goes is, depending on what job you choose to do, you get a certain amount of home base quests. So if you chose Ul'dah, if you were a thaumaturge, you'd get some very Ul'dah specific quests. If you chose Limsa, you'd have some Limsa specific quests. And if you chose Gridania, let's say you wanted to be a conjurer or white mage or lancer or something along those lines, then you would start there, which is kind of like... Ul'dah is kind of like the Middle East, the Mediterranean type area, with lots of, sort of Saharan desert type stuff. Possibly also Utah derived because of things like hoodoos and the general sort of sandy orange look of things. So a couple of different inspirations there. Gridania, on the other hand, is more like the English greenwood type of idea. It's very woodsy flavored, very English-ish from the whole sort of Robin Hood type of legend things. So they draw on different kinds of lore for these main bases. And of course, Limsa is very piratical, very piratey. So at this point, we're going to be starting to get past the home base and into the main story quest proper, where it's not necessarily going to be character getting to know their environment and more character getting to know the group of friends that they're going to wind up being with throughout the rest of the adventure. Well, in-game character friends who aren't your actual real-life friends. If that makes sense. Howdy, fair Madeline. Rested and ready to expand your horizons? Well, then I've an idea where you might try head next. Have you heard of the skylift out in Middle Enosia? If you've ever visited Woad Whisper Canyon, then you must have been up and down that thing at least once. It's that big bleeding scaffolding attached to the descent. You've likely seen the lads and lasses out there using it to haul cargo up the cliff face, not farce, face. Hard labor that, and I hear they could use an enterprising soul to pick up the odd jobs what no other bugger has time to deal with. Track down the head of the operation, bloke by the name of Workit, and he'll be sure to put you to work on a task or two. Awesome. Just realized that I need to actually take a look at my mail. And if you're wondering why, it's because there's stuff in the mail, because I've been playing this game long enough that it will basically give me stuff. How am I going to... There are items in my mail that I need to pick up. That's basically it. Let's see here. Where are we going? Work it at the Skylift. Yeah, only 797 gil still. I guess we're going back by foot. Okay. Go this direction. I'm gonna go back out to the Aetherite. I don't think there's Moogle delivery out here. Is there Moogle delivery by Hawker's Alley? Let me just take a look. Hello, I'm looking for a delivery Moogle. Is there a Moogle who will give me my delivery? Yes, no, maybe so. That's an itinerant Moogle, not Moogle delivery service. Chest. I don't think there's a Moogle out here. Okay. Back to the Aetherite Plaza I go. And we'll head on over to Summerford Farms and see if they have a delivery Moogle. Is that where I'm going? Yes. I need to visit a mailbox and they don't seem to like to put them here in town. Kind of weird. Nope, I don't want to do a fate. I want to be on my merry way, thank you. Through here. I have to admit, I really do like the soundtrack that they put in the background of this game. And the reason why I say that is when I was playing World of Warcraft, I would listen for maybe the first time through an expansion, if that. Yay, Delivery Moogle. And then I'd get tired of hearing the same themes over and over and over again, and I'd just turn it off and listen to a YouTube video while I was questing. Can't really do that with this game. I wind up getting caught up in the story and have to pause things, or I have to pause it and listen to the music because it has lyrics and it's very catchy or works with the mood really well. If you're a fan of John Williams, you might be familiar with the idea of leitmotif, which is themes based around characters or events happening. So everybody, I think, is pretty familiar with Yoda's theme or Darth Vader's The Empire's theme. Dun 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 dun. So that's a leitmotif. And there are different themes that you hear in this game that are very much in the same vein of the leitmotif. And it's really quite cool because you'll be doing something and all of a sudden you'll recognize the tune in the background, but it's played in a slightly different manner. And it's like, ooh, kind of cool. I know what you're thinking. Moogles are supposed to hide in trees and avoid contact with outsiders. Why ever would they carry about letters? Why, indeed, if I had my way, I'd be curled up under the canopy of a nice oak dreaming about some beautiful mooglet with a rainbow-colored pom-pom, Kupo. But no, the moon had to go and drop from the sky, causing all of that terrible commotion. Aetherites were shattered and link pearls rendered useless. For moons, the poor wingless people of Eorzea had no way of communicating with each other beyond screaming at the top of their lungs, which no one really approved of, Kupo. That is, until the little horned ones, Padgels and Gridania, asked us to assist them by delivering messages. At first we were wary of showing ourselves, worried that one of you might catch and skin us like you do every other forest furry. But once we saw how much we were appreciated, we knew we'd found our new calling. Sorry, I had to cough. And I personally promised to try and not read any along the way, Kupo. I certainly hope he doesn't read any of the ERPer stuff, because that could just be more smutty than 50 Shades. ERP, for those who do not know, stands for erotic RP, roleplay. And you can often find them in places of great beauty, doing some fairly weird things. Look what we have here. 3 new letters have arrived just for you, Kupo. I'm not judging ERPers. I don't have the, I don't have the attention span for that kind of immersion in a game. Take all my stuff. Some of this is stuff for renewing my subscription, and some of this is stuff for buying the expansion. One of those things in there is an earring that will allow me to gain XP faster, which is good. And another one of the items in there, at least, is a minion, which is a pet. Move a delivery service, that's nice. Okay. Earring, please. Thank you. Menfina's earring. Which will be hidden by my "Can I talk to the manager" haircut. There we go. And if you would like to see the minion... Alright. One must actually use the minion to access the minion guide. Wind up Palom. Based on one half of a pair of twin mages, this charming minion brings an air of mischief wherever it goes. The tales say that the real Palom mastered the dark arts by the age of 5, though one has to question whether the teaching dangerous magic to small children is such a good idea. Let the wind up Palom. Let us unsummon. Eventually we will get more minions. Oh, my voice is going on me, I think. It happens when you have a coughing fit. Okay, where am I going? I will just go over the bridge. Hello, Mr. Gooboo. Hello, Tiny Mandragora. I'm still building a full Star Wars Jedi outfit for my husbeast. He wants to cosplay a Goatal, but still be able to wear it as formal attire. Ooh, good idea. I have a couple of friends who had themselves some Jedi robes made, and they will wear those things at the drop of a hat. Will all minions follow indefinitely like your personal menagerie? You have one minion that can follow you at a time, and yes, it will follow you. I have on my main character, I have a dragon that follows me wherever I go, and often will sit on my shoulder. When we get to that point in the story, which will probably be quite a ways in the distance because I think it's in the next expansion pack, I think that you will find that. It is really cute to see. Oh, no, missed it. Where am I going? Over here? There we go. There's Work It. But we'll see if I wind up with another minion that I want to have hang out for a while. Yeah, they will crawl into your lap if you're sitting down. They will perch on your shoulder. They do all kinds of things, and it's really, really cute. Really cute. Vaderon sent you out here, did he? And consider yourself welcome at the Skylift. Look at that bloody cliff, will ya? One blast of fiery hell from that huge dragon was all it took to split the ground in half. Cargo still needs to get through, so this mess of wooden pulleys was our solution to the problem. Well, one of them at least. If the gods were kind, and they ain't, I'd have about a dozen more workers to handle me growing list of headaches. I get pants. Hooray for pants. Work It, a Skylift operator, needs you to recover a cargo load abandoned by a terrified wagon driver and deliver it to its intended recipient. Dude, I never left. I've been waiting for you to talk to me. Glad am I to see you again, lass. A wagon driver just returned in a great bloody hurry, screaming about some monstrosity what sprang out from a million corn seedling in his cargo. Seems the gutless bastard tossed it over the side before turning tail and running for his life. I need you to head down the road, recover that seedling, and deliver it to Lyolf over at Swift Perch in western Lenosia. Whatever he pays you for the cargo is yours to keep. After all, I don't rightly know what else is lurking inside that plant, and you deserve to be rewarded for your troubles. Oh, and you'll also find an aetheryte in Swift Perch, so the journey should be worth your while. Oakley dokley. Because I don't have a chocobo to ride yet. First, you will encounter objects with which you can interact simply by approaching, then right-clicking. Okay. Oh, hello, jackals. See you. There's my million corn seedling next to a wild jackal. Get rid of. Hurt puppy sound is not good. She kills shore slugs down by the seashore. Or is it maybe she smites shore slugs down by the seashore? Yeah. And apparently I've picked up a couple of pots of viscous secretions. Joy. Come on, carbuncle. Go back to the left. And just go that. Turn to the right. Level 50 mob in there. I'm not about to give it heck. Yummy. Yeah. New Kellogg's product, viscous secretions. Oh, right, I need to take it elsewhere, don't I? Lyolf and Swift Perch. Oh, right. Well, auto run. You're good for something. Nope, nope, not going anywhere near the sound of bees. Not a good thing. I hear the sound of winged, stingy critters, and I just move immediately in the opposite direction. Do not pass go, do not collect $200. And apparently a pack of jackals is on the move. Must have been a fate that just finished up. And away we go. Ah yes, this is where we found the roselings. It's a habit from World of Warcraft, the constant jumping. See, in World of Warcraft, you had to do a whole bunch of running around for the first 15, 20 levels. I think at first it was like the first 20 levels you had to go through, and until you got your first mount. It's either 20 or 40. And then I think you got your next one at 40. I think it was at 20 you got your travel form if you were like a if you were a mage you could pop forward. If you were a shaman you could turn into a ghost wolf. If you were a druid you could turn into a cat. And then at 40 you got your first mount. So for some folks who didn't have these travel forms, you were hoofing it for a good like 40 levels. So what do you do when you are running from one end of a continent to another? You bounce. Every so often you hit your space bar and you bounce. And it keeps you entertained on those long, long journeys. And it's stuck with me because I was playing World of Warcraft back just after it first launched. So that was a lot of running around. Well, let's hand this in to Lyolf. Has Nymea herself forsaken this desolate land? I thought I understood there were risks in gambling my entire fortune on a crop of million corn. I at least expected the seedling to be delivered before disaster struck. Here, have a seedling. Is that my million corn seedling? Oh, joyous day! It may seem a paltry beginning, but the yield of this particular variety of crop plant is nothing short of astonishing. I certainly hope so, buddy. As you have undoubtedly noticed, Swift Perch lacks a certain, shall we say, vital energy. Thus, I mean to restore a modicum of hope to its residents by growing a veritable ocean of corn. You, madam, seem fit to burst with vim and vigor. Might I persuade you to abide a while and help nurture this ailing settlement? Well, the dude abides. And you want to give me another Dalmatica? I'll take the money, thanks. Merch. I used to do that in Oblivion to get my acrobatics stat up. At least they gave you a stat for it. We were doing it just because we were bored. Which, you know. See, when I started knitting, I had absolutely no idea that I was going to be practicing my knitting by doing so between flights. This game does away with the flight point. You have your aetheryte, you click on it, it teleports you where you need to go. In World of Warcraft, you basically take the bus. So you go to a flight point, you pay the guy, he puts you on a griffin or a hippogriff, and zoom, off you go. And you could be in the air for like 15 minutes. There were some locations where you would practically be logged out. Like the moment that your character landed, it timed you out and you'd have to wait in the queue to get back on again. So now that was usually if you were Horde and you were going from the top end of a continent down to a raid at about the middle to bottom, like 2/3 of the way down, before you knew all of the different routes to get there in time. So you'd be on this flight for easily 15 minutes. So what I would do is I would have my knitting right beside me on the desk, and I knit a lot of socks while I was in flight going to Molten Core. Because, yeah, raid night. Fralof. A yellow jacket on guard duty in Swift Perch wants you to visit the Brewer's Beacon and investigate the reason behind the waning light. You there, adventurer, cast your eyes towards the Brewer's Beacon. Does the light not seem uncommonly weak? Here's the Brewer's Beacon. If you want me to cast my eyes there, you need to allow me to move the camera guy. Sorry. It cannot possibly be bright enough to guide the ship sailing in the bay. I would march over to the lighthouse and investigate myself, but I am duty-bound to remain at my post. I would consider it a favor if you could make a visit to the Brewer's Beacon and see if aught has befallen Conswis, the lighthouse keeper. Because here in Lenosia, we have never met a vowel we did not want to cuddle up to. Or a consonant that didn't need a buddy. Oh, it's another lightning sprite. Hello. Seriously, guys. And down it goes. And we get a little extra XP for killing lightning sprites. Hooray. So I guess that's where we were going. Okay. Doesn't look all that dim to me, but what the heck. Oh, is this where we've got buzzards? We've got buzzards. Okay. Buzzard is now looking at me. Thank you, buddy. Nifty thing about this game, you can sneak around things if they can't see you. So if you actually do wait until something turns its back, sometimes you don't need to fight it. Which is nice when it happens. Not so nice when it doesn't happen. Conswis. Okay, buddy, what have you got for me? You say a yellow jacket sent you here. Eh? Me light's grown dim, has it? Well, of course it bloody has. The bomb what the bomb what fuels me furnace has up and buggered off, you see. If I don't get that beacon fixed up soon, there'll be trouble on the water. I know you're just the messenger, lass, but I can tell a venturer when I see one. I'm gonna need you to chase down that bomb and bring back a claw what you ripped from its smoldering corpse. Okay. Take this here iron brazier and set her down in the middle of the flock, somewhere near the scarecrow, I'd say. You get a nice fire going and that frisky bomb will soon be about. Watch you don't singe your eyebrows, lass. Thank you very much, Dragon Boy. I think you're a Dragon Boy. Or are you a Rogadin? I think you're a Rogadin. Rogadin woman. Okay, Madam Rogadin. Items, yes, yes. I am aware. Okay. Looks like somebody is having fun with a lot of dodos. Why in the world are these people just kiting these dodos around? It is a veritable dodo parade. Oh, looks like they're trying to start the dodo train all over again. Awesome. There we go. I guess I'm the person who ruined all their fun. No more dodos. Where's the iron brazier? Gain a bomb claw from the torchlight that is drawn by the flame. Interact. I sense a hostile presence. And there we go. Apparently I took his claw. Clear the buzzards again. All you need to do to take that down that runaway bomb and bring me one of its little... Yes, I already did that. Thank you. And that over. Ah, you got the ashy bastard, did you? Once I put this little firecracker in the furnace, that should keep things running for a while. I had myself a bit of a look while I was gone, and can't read. And Limlayan curse me if the furnace weren't all bent and broken. Small wonder the bloody bomb was able to escape. I patched things up as best I could, but I ain't no Smitty. You might want to have a chat with that yellow jacket friend of yours in Swift Perch and have him pass the word back to someone in Limsa. Okie dokie. Well, we're sitting at 821 gil, so that's good. I'm just going to go through here, and I will just keep running. You can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread man. I know exciting music wants me to turn around and fight, but I don't want to. Me and my Pikachu are just going to keep moving. Gonna jog on. Talk to Freyloaf again. The furnace is damaged, is it? Very well, I shall write up the relevant reports, but these repairs must needs be effected without delay. It seems I have another favor to ask of you, adventurer. Take yourself straight away to the Armorers Guild in Limsa and explain the situation to Forge Master Hananza. Okay. Back to Limsa we go. Okay. To the upper decks. So therefore... Go to the aft castle. We'll see if that gets me where I need to be. Just closer to it. Okay. Need to go all the way over there. The Blacksmith's Guild. Close enough. There was an interesting video that I found, because this can tend to look like it's just a whole lot of work, and it's a long way of telling a story. It really is. Let's talk to this guy first, and then I'll continue. The furnace in the Brewer's Beacon needs repairs. By Ragott's beard, I just sent someone out to tinker with it not a week past. Mayhap the bomb Kenswis had trapped in there was a touch too volatile? She looks kind of cool. Cat girl with shades? I'll have an artisan visit the lighthouse and pay special attention to reinforcing the casing of that furnace. Your work is done here, adventurer. May the navigator guide you on your journeys. Awesome. And I get a hat. Level 14! I am one level away from getting rid of my "can I talk to the manager" haircut. Forge Master Hananza, head of Naldik and Vimelis, wants you to assist with the workload over at the Morabi dry docks. What say you to taking on some work from Naldik and Vimelis? We have a great hulking warship to build and could certainly use an extra hand for any number of tasks. For your first job, I need you to run this missive over to Otberm. Guys, you gotta mix your vowels and your consonants up. There's only there's an A and a Y, which is only sometimes a vowel in there. Gotta do better. I need you to run this missive over to Otberm, the head shipwright at the Morabi dry docks. We forge most of the ship's bits and pieces here at the Armorers Guild, but the actual construction takes place at the docks found in the south of Lower Lenosia. That's also where you'll find the main offices of Naldic and Vimelis. The Morabi dry docks is one of Limsilimince's most important districts, at least as far as I'm concerned, and I'm sure you'll not regret attuning yourself to the area's aetherite. Of course I won't. If you've no confidence in your sense of direction, you'd be best served making use of the chocobo porters, first floor of the Mizzenmist, in case you were wondering. Should you choose to make the trek on your own 2 feet, leave the city through the Tempest Gate and follow the road south. May the navigator guide your steps. Awesome. Thank you. But yes, I was watching a video by Joe Cat, I do believe the name is, and he was talking about how it took him approximately 3 hours of playtime to grow to love the game, which I'm not certain, but I think that's a meme. It took me 300 hours to what have you. But I think it depends on how you're starting this game and what you're expecting from it, because I look at it as I like stories. I like to read them. I like to watch them. Sometimes I like to write them. And having played a video game that liked to lean on story but totally ignore it, it's kind of nice to be playing a game that actually likes to fulfill the promises that the story gives, if that makes sense. Aha! Morabi dry docks for 5 gil. We can afford that. So he found that the story bits, the having to read things out versus necessarily having the cutscenes where they talk, was kind of like a road bump that kept him from really enjoying the game itself, because what he was wanting to do was not necessarily related to the main story questline. So I think what he said wound up being his saving grace in the long run was he wound up buying a skip to a higher level, and then he just watched all of the cutscenes in one of the inn rooms. When you go into the inn room, there is the ability to watch the cutscenes, kind of like a movie. And I can understand why that might actually make a little bit more sense for him, because if he's getting to see them one after another without the long periods of time of having to do things like what we're doing here, going from place to place, having to, kill five things, kill 2 things, etc. Collect X number of stuff. Then I can see where, that would make it a little bit more cohesive. Myself, I actually kind of like the adventure of the entire thing. There's a particular duty that they make you do around level 50 or so that a lot of people find extremely tedious, because it has these long cutscenes and you can't skip them. After a while, you're able to do what they call roulettes. In other words, you sign up for a instance dungeon and it'll allow you to do a random dungeon with either a group or a group of strangers, and you get extra experience points, particularly if the person in your group has never done it before. And there's this one particular instanced dungeon that does not happen to have any skips in the cutscenes is one that they don't put the cutscenes in precisely because new players need to be able to get through that portion of the storyline. So if you were to skip through it and just keep going, well, experienced people would already be fighting the last boss, while the person who is a sprout, a newbie, would probably still be seeing the first cutscene. So therefore, they have necessarily turned it into a bit of an abyssal nightmare. But the thing is that if you time things right, and you aren't particularly interested in watching the cutscenes because you've done this particular dungeon many times and you're there mostly just to get the experience and the other goodies that the dungeon will give you, like, you know, more money in game, or I think you earn little like tokens so that you can buy upgraded gear. If you're willing to go through the 1 hour sequence of events, you can time it that about halfway through, there is a place where you can get up, you can stretch, you can go upstairs and grab another cup of tea, and be able to use the facilities and get back down to your seat by the time that the next portion of the battle or action is supposed to start. So every so often on the YouTube channel, one of my viewers will quote bits and pieces of that particular battle at me, to, you know, to which my response is usually creeping mendacity, because that is one of the funniest lines ever that came out of that particular sequence of events. But it's just one of those things that makes A Realm Reborn the very first part of the game, the base part of the game, be a little more difficult for people to deal with. It does get better in further expansions. The pace picks up. I think a lot of the problems behind A Realm Reborn is precisely because they retooled the entire game in order to be able to make it playable and enticing for new players. But it's, for some people, it's just not their thing. It's just not their thing to have to go through a long storyline full of quests that eventually wind up getting to a point, but generally ramble a lot like I do. That being said, it is after 7:30, and I promised the husbeast that around 7:30 we would talk about dinner. So that is where I am going to leave things tonight. I am going to see if I can find another time to do a little bit more streaming. I do actually enjoy it. Definitely when I get the new camera, we'll be able to do a little bit more crafty stuff, which should be good. Should be fun. And in the meantime, keep an eye out. The new video will be coming pretty darn soon. I've got somebody jumping on my screen. Setsuna Yuki the True. If that is one of you guys, hello. If not, they are certainly joyful. But I will see you guys again later on. You have a good night. If you are getting up to anything cool, let me know. Drop me a line. Bye. See, now I've got to take a look at my stream deck and find out where exactly things are so that I can end stuff. Not the most graceful exit ever, I know. Have a good night, folks.